Hi, Mark Boyd of Bimini Road here, and I'm sharing my Fibonacci sequencer that I made in Audulus 3.0 with the help of the module library that I created for it. So here we got the divided clock, and the divided clock is driving the revolving clock divider, and the revolving clock divider has its revolve multiplier set by the golden ratio, which is related to the Fibonacci sequence. And the Fibonacci sequence modules, they work pretty simply. There's just a count-up module that represents the nth term, and this algorithm right here generates Fibonacci sequence, generates the Fibonacci sequence from that. So every time it gets pinged, it goes up by, according to the Fibonacci sequence right here. See, 144. 233, 0. And the nth term max is set to 12. And what that does is it constrains the range of the sequence because, what we're doing here is we're taking all of these outputs of these and summing them together. This is the top row and the bottom row together. They're summed. And then those get summed together into this mixer that then gets pushed into this slew limiter, then to the scale quantizer, then this another slew limiter here, and then finally to a synthesizer that I have set up over here and to the master output. So let's just turn it up and see what it sounds like. So as you can tell, it's hard to control this sequencer. I made it just as kind of a challenge to see what I could make with the revolving clock divider and with the Fibonacci sequence, because some people saw this module that I made and be like, what is this good for? Like, what can you use this for? Well, here's one way you can use it. Sum it together and shove it through a quantizer. That's something you can do only in Audulus. So let's just play around with it for a little bit. I don't claim to this to be the most musical synthesizer or sequencer, and it's kind of silly sometimes, but I've dialed in some really nice sounds at some points, and they are actually repeatable because they all start in the same place, but because the way that this is set up right now, you have the feedback from this summing going all the way back. You can see here it's going all the way back to the revolve input, and you can notice if I put it on count, see how the red, it's blue when the red and the blue match up at the same time, but basically the red dot is climbing up, and that means that it's like shifting the output. So this top output is divided by 1, this bottom is divided by 2, divided by 3, and it's as if you were taking the outputs of this revolving clock divider and shifting them around. And so the red light right there marks the divided by 1 signal. But if I put it on revolve, you see it has a little bit more chaotic motion to it because there's some feedback going in there. Makes some interesting melodies. I can also control the range here. Whoops. I got away. And how I would use one of a patch like this is I would probably record it into Ableton and use the MIDI information from it, use the pitch information from it to drive something else, and pick out like a little loop of a couple bars that I like, and then that can kickstart a new song project for me, because it's I'm not the most educated musician in the world, and I don't know a whole lot about chord progressions and all that kind of stuff, and I like Audulus because it allows me, as someone who doesn't know a whole lot about music, to make really interesting, complex musical ideas, but not have to know a whole lot about music theory. So that's the Fibonacci sequencer, and this is a part of a kind of patch library that I'm building that will also be included in this patch library down here. Right now we have just little individual modules, but eventually we're going to have these all built in as well. So what you'll actually get is, let's see, delete this. you'll get this when you pull up the patch, and you can see you have the 2 relevant connection points, the gate and the 1 per octave output. The only controls that don't do anything on this are these 3 and 4 right here. Everything else does something and changes the melody and changes the sequence, and it's really fun to play with, and you know, just have fun. Talk to you soon.